What's up, everyone? Lex and Stacey, Threesome Podcast number 143. And it's been a while.
Cow.
I know.
Look at us go.
I know.
Hello, Lex.
Hey, Stacey, how you been?
I've been good. How have you been?
I've been busy, like super busy, and I get the sense you have been too. We have not spoken much in the last couple months, so
which is odd. It
is odd, but I figured we should do that and do it publicly so we make sure it gets done.
Yes.
So Threesome Podcast 143 it is. Let's see, what have I been up to? Oh, I got us on Spotify.
Yes, you told me that yesterday.
Yeah, so
that's exciting.
I was letting our current audience know if they prefer downloading on Spotify, you now can. Just look for Threesome Podcast, and you will find it quite easily. All 142 episodes are on there. We also have Legendcast on there too, which I have revised and will only be doing every once in a while. Basically, if I have a famous guest, is the only reason I would be doing a Legendcast. And currently, I've had Jarrett from Bowling for Soup on for a 3-parter. Just released the first part of that, so that gets everybody up to speed there as far as what I've been up to. You, on the other hand, have been quite the mystery, young lady. So. What has been up? Talk to me.
Not much, really, honestly, truly. I'm just here. I'm just coexisting with the world, the universe, doing my own thing.
Cool. Well, you sound, dare I say it, happy.
You know, next month it will be a year since hubby moved out. And it's been the fastest year of my life.
So all that drama, kind of fades into the sunset pretty quick after somebody leaves. So you're probably at that spot now where you don't even think about it much. You're into a new routine.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a year. I haven't had any contact with him since the beginning of December. That was the last time, after 14, 15 years.
It's just as well.
We just boom, nothing. I don't even know where he is. My mom ran into him at a grocery store, I don't know, back over the summer. So he's still in the area, we think, but I don't care. And I don't mean that in a snotty way either. I just don't care. No. I'm not even mad at him anymore or anything.
No, I've never heard
you
say anything shitty about him whatsoever. Just you don't talk about it. So that's fine. It's all good when it goes like that. It means it probably should have happened.
Yes. No tears were shed, nothing.
No
mourning or grieving. That first night, the day he literally moved out, that night I'm sitting there in the house and it's so quiet. And I was just hee hee hee.
Yeah. I so did the right thing.
Yes, this feels good. It
feels
quiet.
So fucking good.
Yes.
So I did think about you about a month or two ago. Samantha and I went to the Foo Fighters, and the opening band was the Struts.
Yay!
Yeah, which I know
That's cool.
I know you love Kiss This.
Yes. I was going to turn you on to that.
You are, and that guy's an interesting singer. He ended up doing Under Pressure with the Foo Fighters later on in the show. It was quite good. Yeah, he did the.
He has a Mick Jagger-esque thing about him. It seems kind of.
He did the Freddie parts on Under Pressure. So you got to be a badass to do that.
Right.
You just don't walk up and sing. Yeah, I'll do the Freddie Mercury parts. I got this.
Don't worry about me. I'll do it. It's fine.
I can't wait for that movie to come out.
Who's playing him?
Rami Malek is playing him. I don't know if you've ever seen Mr. Robot on USA.
No.
But if you watch an episode of that, the young kid who's the computer hacker is the one who ends up playing him, and you'll get it right away. You'll look at him and go, okay, I get it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
From what I understand, he's brilliant. And they were using, I think, Adam Lambert to sing some of the parts, and then actual Queen songs, that they had in the vault for others that he lip synced to. But some of the footage I've seen is just tremendous, and I can't wait for it to come out. I think it's early November.
Cool.
It hits the theaters. Definitely one I would go see, because one of my favorite bands of all time.
That is one of those roles that you just don't blow off. You take that role very seriously.
Yeah.
Because, he's still very much in the public consciousness, and just a huge fan base. You don't go into that half-assed.
See, what I didn't know about Freddie was, and I saw this on a documentary, that he was completely bisexual. I mean, this guy would have sex with anybody.
Oh, I guess I thought he was gay.
I thought he was completely 100% gay, but no. He had a female friend/girlfriend he was very close to, who basically just stayed out of his business while he fucked whatever guy or chick he wanted to, and of course her at times. They were very close, and it was interesting. That's not how it was in my head with him. I pictured a completely, just flamboyant, off the scale gay lifestyle, and it kind of wasn't like that at all.
Interesting. I thought the same thing too.
So I'm interested in seeing how the movie portrays it, because I don't want to say I was disappointed, but what are you doing? Pressure washing something?
No, that's the wind, because there's storms coming.
Oh. It literally sounds like you're washing out like a bowl or something.
No, sorry, that's the wind outside. I'm in my house.
So you're letting storm wind just blow through the house while you do this? What's the word?
Well,
unprofessional.
It wasn't doing that when we started. And then I guess people will appreciate this. I texted Lex this morning because, literally this morning, we've gone how many months without recording or anything. Literally this morning, somewhere in my basement, I did a quick look through, but somewhere in my basement, there's another smoke detector that started beeping this morning.
Oh, God.
But you can't hear it, so it's okay. I'll figure that one out. But I was
God.
it knows. The house knows.
I had listeners going, I'll drive up there and fix it. Jesus fucking Christ.
I know. There were some very nice and conscientious people.
Yeah.
And then more of the, oh my God, just take care of it.
Yeah.
And then there was the one guy who was very concerned about my safety.
Which made us want to do what? Not take care of it. Yeah.
Exactly. Let it just beep all
God,
episode after episode.
People learned anything? Not that the way you psychologically handle us. You have to say stuff like, what turns me on is that smoke detector going off all the time. It just makes me crazy. And then Stacey and I talk later and go, yeah. Then later Stacey and I talk and go, let's fuck that person over out of their happiness since we can't be. So wait,
happiness.
Oh God, crazy. Help people think that's possible.
I know.
Poor things. Don't they get it?
It's all a lie.
God, it's a giant lie. It's up there with the best of them, the Vietnam War, all that stuff. UFOs, happiness. Yeah, so that's
Speaking of which, can you go to the podcast Facebook page right now? I posted a thing this morning.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. It really especially tickled me, but I don't think it's going to be a super popular one.
All right, let me see.
It's more subtle. It's the construction guys.
The construction guys? All right, let me see here. On the Threesome Podcast page?
Yeah.
Let me see here. Let's see what you've done.
I am so curious how that happened. I really want to know the backstory to that meme.
That's great. That is great. It's /3somepodcast, by the way.
At Facebook. Yeah.
Yep. Facebook.com/3somepodcast. You'll enjoy that immensely. You've already had 3 shares. Not bad.
Really?
Yeah.
See, now this summer, the our Facebook fans, our fans who are on Facebook, have become very active all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm. That's because you post some good shit.
Thank you. I try.
Yeah. Your r/your/our page is the first one I always look at.
Ooh.
For something entertaining. But somebody sent me something yesterday on Messenger. It was so funny. It was a football play, and the guy's going. He goes, he's moving around back there. He's like, oh, they tried to sack him. He's looking for somebody open. He's running for the end zone. Holy fuck! He's in. And he goes, excuse me for my language, folks. That just kind of slipped out there. I'm so sorry. Yeah, but
like Brockmeyer.
It was so fucking funny, man, because it's like you could tell he was in his own, fan world. Holy fuck!
Have you watched Brockmeyer?
No, I watched the first couple episodes, and it kind of lost me for some reason.
Oh,
but
I haven't. It's just because it's on IFC or something. It's not one of those things that's like readily available. At least not that I have found on Amazon or Netflix.
Yeah, where did I find that? Maybe it was on iTunes that I got it.
The opening scene of the first episode.
Yeah.
That's really all you ever need to watch.
Yeah, it is.
It's just the meltdown is just magnificent.
After his wife, he finds out his wife's been fucking around.
Not just fucking around, but fucking the next door neighbor in the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's drinking. He's a baseball announcer. If you don't know this show, it's Hank Azaria.
Yeah.
And it's the opening scene of the first episode. He's up in the booth. The game is playing. It's like he's a minor. No, this was
like AAA.
Major League or something. But anyway, he starts drinking because you're figuring out that something bad has happened, and he's drinking like right there in the booth, just like from the bottle, and then just goes off on his wife. But he has this great baseball announcer voice, and he talks that way through the whole show. It's fantastic.
And never goes out of character. Sorry, I'm eating Skittles. Talking about her. Like, she's a fucking whore, and she's fucking my neighbor.
And that's 3 strikes and ball 3. And
yeah, well, his curveball just outside, and she was...
she was fucking him in the ass with a strap on. It's really spectacular. My brother was the one. He's like, okay, he was home, and it was at my mom's house, and he's like, all right, you guys have to watch this. So the first time I watched that was with, my mom.
That's always fun.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I posted, and this is something I guess that can't. Well, I'm not going to share it, because it's my personal one, but you can look. On my Facebook page, I posted yesterday or the day before about it was that unicorn mug.
Yeah.
And it's a really, really dirty mug. With this cute little unicorn who's just sitting there flipping the bird with both hooves.
I gotta check.
But it's a mug that I would proudly drink from. Probably not at work because, people would be upset, but.
Oh, don't worry about people.
I do.
You have to, yeah, because today's, shall we say,
atmosphere
is very supercharged.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is, and I really don't, this isn't a Trump rant per se, It's just one thing that he has done to me personally is I have become very aware of there's two sides to society right now, at least American society. There's the assholes and the not assholes. And I am trying every day to just not be an asshole. That's my lofty goal. Isn't that sad? I just want another day without being an asshole, I don't think.
Because if you're not an asshole, it means you're better than half the population.
Yeah. I would like to think there are more not assholes than there are assholes. But that's me being optimistic.
That sure
I don't know if that's true.
Nope, there's still at least 50% assholes out there.
Damn it.
Every day, I count at the end of the day my asshole quota, and it's usually as high or higher than my nice person one.
You know, though, you're in radio. I think that your immediate circle is skewed.
No, I don't count them. They're assholes.
Oh.
And I'm sure they don't count me either.
Because radio is very much, and I imagine all entertainment business is similar. My only experience really is with radio, but man, you get some incredibly artistic, smart, unhappy, funny people in radio.
And a bunch of no talent jerk faces too. Yeah,
that's true. It depends on, I guess, the level.
And since you left, there's a lot more of those. So you were here still when there were decent people in management and decent people in charge. Not all of them were, but there were some. Right. Now all those people have moved on to other things that either pay more money or are not slowly going away, that type of deal.
See, now I can remember from my very beginning in radio, I could tell the difference. And I feel like I came in right at the tail end of the golden age of radio.
You did.
I got to see that, like the unicorn that's dying slowly, kind of thing. I got to see that. And then I saw the when computers do the segues, and let's face it, there are no segues in radio anymore.
Not anymore.
Because of the computer. And just all of that, the good stuff, the artistry of radio has gone because it's all computerized.
That's right. And you got... you were at least here when there was one program director per station. Yes. Who had the time to give the love and affection to the station that it needed. Even if it only had one or two live people on it and the rest of it, came from national or syndication or whatever, still had the time to put some production love into it and make it sound good and all that. Well, now those guys are over like 4 or 5 stations.
Right.
And, I programmed the app for Lex and Terry. That thing by itself eats up 3 hours of my day. Easy.
Right.
So I picture that and 4 other entities to take care of, and something's just got to give.
Are there even any radio stations in the United States that has like a full staff anymore?
Oh yeah, I mean,
are there?
Some of the major market ones, still have the one PD. Everybody live on a shift. A lot of the sports stations are live across the board.
I was going to say probably the news too.
Yeah. And
like a news station.
Even the news has had cutbacks, because CNN and Fox and all that's become so powerful that putting them on one of your day parts is okay with people.
Right.
So it is. It is done. Sports is a lot more personal to people.
Right.
Especially
because you get the people, the Detroit sports station.
Yeah.
Of course, they're talking about all the Detroit teams that you wouldn't find in Baltimore.
Yeah, it's exactly right. So your morning show and your afternoon show is probably most likely going to be, And at a market the size of Detroit, probably your midday show too. That's all going to be live personalities from the area, most likely.
Right.
And then at night, you could have a Colin Cowherd or a Jim Rome or somebody like that. But for the most part, it's live dudes from the area. So I find myself listening to that when I'm driving around, listening to anything besides music.
Right.
I don't listen to music on the radio at all, because I'm sorry, but I'm a better program director than anybody, on or off the radio. So I listen to what I want to listen to. And you guys out there, you're all better program directors too. Now that you got your Spotify and iTunes and everything else, you don't need radio to make you musically happy anymore. You can do it yourself. And you don't even have to buy it. I used to listen to radio because there were a lot of things I couldn't afford to buy, So,
oh God, Amazon. I mean,
yeah.
I've got Amazon Prime and I've got Alexa, and I could literally stand in the kitchen. I'm cooking, and it'll be like, Alexa, play something.
Yeah.
And I can have her play 3 songs that take me the time to cook, and then I'm done, and I got to hear exactly what I wanted to hear.
And I get so many compliments on the Lex and Terry app, because I'm playing music in between segments, and
nice.
It is literally, the genres are all over the place. I literally have played Steely Dan into Metallica. I've played Jay-Z into AC/DC, and it sounds good.
Cool.
And 20 years ago you would have gotten fired for that. but I have on purpose pushed the boundaries of some of the segues and some of the mixes just to see if I can get somebody on Twitter or Facebook to go, "What the fuck are you doing, man?" And they don't. Because we now have a conditioned society of downloaders. And if you go into anybody's playlist, where their main grouping of songs is before they split them into playlists, you go into anybody's, that's exactly what you find. Especially
if you do shuffle, you will get, like you said, the Metallica into Willie Nelson.
Yes.
Always on my mind.
Yeah.
Something,
Yeah, we play like Jason Aldean and, people like that on there, and it sounds fucking fine. It's okay. Right. Because it's shit everybody's heard before. And let's face it, if you do a shuffle thing on a main iTunes or Spotify list, that's what it's going to sound like. I just happen to...
My playlist, I've got 3. One is strictly 80s, like the really super, the Thompson Twins.
Mm-hmm.
Just it's very much 80s.
Yeah.
Then I have, and it's really kind of turned into my most of my songs go there, but I had originally labeled it classic rock, but it's more just like light stuff because it's just anything. And then I have my heavy playlist, which, is the Korn and just that stuff.
Yeah, I just basically I have a what am I in the mood for right now at this part of my life playlist that I move shit in and out of. And then I have one I call Lex songs, which are stuff that'll never leave. It's my creme de la creme of songs that I just leave alone. I'll add to it. I'll never take away from it. And then I have an in and out of rotation one that's got 900 songs in it that, has stuff go in and out of it, based on what I'm in the mood for.
Right.
And that's it. So I have quite the affinity right now of a wide scope of music to hit my playlist. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. And I don't think it bothers most people anymore. They don't even bat an eye to it. If you would have put this playlist on a radio station, like I said, even 10 years ago,
Well, I don't know because, and I'm trying to remember when this happened because it was here in it was in Saginaw. This Joe FM station came on, and it had to have been when it was before I moved to Florida for you guys. So it had to have been the mid-90s, which was kind of blowing my mind right now that it was that long ago. But it was a station like that. Like no one had ever heard anything like that where they were playing shit all across the board. There was no real rhyme or reason to it. And it did fairly well. It was never number one or anything. But it was, I think it's still around. I haven't listened to local radio in years. Yeah. I don't even know it's there. But so they did have something that was something at some point.
Yeah, it's called Jack. Yeah. Yeah, it's they have like Jack and Bob and a few stations like that. But even they are, compared to what I'm doing, pretty focused.
Right. Just shocking that Lex is, all over the place on something.
Yeah, because, I mean, when I programmed radio stations, it was very serious business to me. It's like I really did not play shit to hurt myself,
Right. No.
And I think if I had the same job now, I would go about it completely different now that downloading has entered our lives. Some of these radio stations treat it like it's cancer. Don't talk about downloading. Don't reference it. I would do just the opposite.
I can tell you that Struts song that you and I have talked about and we both love, and it's called Kiss This by the Struts, if you're not familiar. Anyway, I heard it. It was honestly like earlier, whenever it was like a month before I told you about the song. I had heard it locally here, and it was one of those songs that immediately made me go, oh, and I Shazammed it so that I could go, what the hell is that? But once in a great while, local radio for that purpose might give me something that I'm like, oh, look.
Yeah, I mean,
because that is one danger, is like finding new music. I remember as a child, my mom and dad listened to 60s music, which is why I have this huge knowledge of 60s music.
Right.
And they never listened to anything else. And I always asked them, why haven't you moved forward with the music? Why? And now I totally get it, because I am so 90s alternative rock.
Although,
that is my wheelhouse. That is where most of my go-to music is.
Although my affinity for new music has grown because these download sites send you new music to check out and new bands.
See, I probably should pay more attention to that.
Yeah.
I really should, but I don't.
And like Spotify does this thing called Discover. And what they do is they kind of take a snapshot of your main playlist and try to send you stuff new and old of stuff they think you would like that's not on your playlist. And I probably, out of the 30 songs they send a week, keep like 8 to 10 of them.
Nice.
It's kind of cool. Most of them older, but some of them have made me like check back into bands that maybe I didn't think were for me the first time. A great example is White Stripes. That the first time around, I was so sick of, Seven Nation Army. I was just like, oh God, not this fucking guy again. But
the Rockin' Tours. How do you pronounce it?
The Rankin' Tours.
Yes.
Yeah, Steady As She Goes.
Yes, I love that song so much.
It's a fucking great song. See, I had no idea that was him, until that showed up on my list. I had no idea that was Jack White.
Really?
Yeah, until I went, that's got to be him.
Good Detroit boy,
Yeah. Oh, no, he's like one of my main faves now. But the one that got me, I was driving back from a business dinner one night, and I had like an hour, 10-minute drive from Fort Worth, and I put that week's 30 on, and Ballin' Biscuit from White Stripes was on there, and I just went, are you fucking kidding me? This is like the greatest fucking song I've ever heard, and I've been all in ever since.
Nice.
It's like, the guy's phenomenal. As a matter of fact, I saw a documentary. This is probably back at Christmas with him and Jimmy Page and The Edge.
Really?
And they got the three of them together, like to meet in like this warehouse to play. And they, just kind of got to know each other, and then they went back and kind of did their stories, how they learned guitar, how they got with their bands, all that stuff. And you start to really realize that guitar playing is reminiscent of your background, as opposed to what you're gifted with or what your style is or whatever. Because Jack White was just a good family Michigan kid. He was kind of a geek. He kind of liked to build things and stuff like that. And he was just kind of an inventor type motif. So he'd like build guitars, and like his first guitar had like one string on it. and the opening part of the documentary is he kind of recreates it and shows how he got interested in it. And then you see him play now, and you just go, wow, man, that's so cool.
Yes.
To see what that started. It's just
what the moral of the story is.
What?
Michigan rocks.
Yeah.
It's the best state in the country.
For rock, it's up there, I would say.
For many things.
Yeah, you're
awesome.
You're not biased or anything.
It's fabulous.
Yeah, I probably, my favorite music state's probably still California. Seattle. There's something about the Pacific Northwest that produces.
I think it's called depression. Lack of vitamin D.
Well, I think the lack of great weather made people do what? Sit inside and play guitar and drums and get high,
smoke
play
some weed, and fuck.
And pretty much.
Yeah.
So I think that which isn't far apart from Michigan, to be honest.
We have winter, damn it.
Yeah. So I think that plays a part in, much like New York and Jersey and Eastern Pennsylvania and all that, it just has this, industrialized depression to it that creates really good music.
Depression is what makes art. If everybody was happy all the time, I don't think anyone would be as inspired to create.
Yeah, it is a diversion or a departure from a mood that you don't want to be in. So
right.
You're searching to create something that makes you happy. And what makes us happy? Getting people to listen to our problems. Yeah.
This is honestly what radio was for me, the art of conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my creativity. And I know that sounds weird. I'm certainly not drawing like a painting and putting together beautiful colors.
No, but you realize
realize
you have an audience, and you realize you have the ability to make them happy, or make them interested, and that's that does kind of push you into a creative aura that you probably wouldn't be in otherwise.
Yeah.
Radio to me didn't mean anything to me until I moved to Florida and lost all my friends. I had to start all over with new friends and everything.
Right.
And, so I sat in my room and listened to music. And, I didn't know at the time that the best music ever made was all coming out at once, but it was. And I'd sit in my room and listen to it. All kinds of different music. Aerosmith, Steely Dan, Alice Cooper, Black Sabbath, one after another, great metal like UFO and Scorpions and stuff like that. It just
Montrose.
Yeah, the best rock record ever made, and I could make an argument for.
I get points for working Montrose into a conversation.
Hey, that was we did our Desert Island records a while back. That was one of mine.
Was it really? Rock Candy?
Oh,
Bad
God.
Motor Scooter?
Damn right, man. Space Station number 5. Rock the Nation, Bad Motor Scooter.
I didn't know that, but I do.
Good Rockin' Tonight. Man, there's a lot of great fucking songs on that record. And here's the thing. The album's called Montrose, and Ronnie Montrose got painted as this guitar god, but Sammy wrote most of the fucking record and played a lot of the lead guitar on it and sang it. His name isn't on there. But
well, he got Van Hagar later, so it all worked out.
When I finally got to meet him, I said, "You're gonna probably hate me for this, but that's the greatest fucking record you ever made." He goes, "No, I don't hate you for that." He goes, "I'm glad you said I made it, because I fucking did."
He's the one that went and had sex with one of Charlie Logan's girlfriends, yes.
Sammy?
Yeah.
No, I think you're thinking of somebody else. I don't think it was Sammy.
Oh, now I'm going to have to randomly post something on Charlie's Facebook page.
Yeah. I mean,
so was it Sammy Hagar that... Yes.
Yeah, I know somebody fucked this chick, but I didn't think it was a rock star. I just thought it was some dude. But he had a lot of hot chicks.
Well, it's Charlie. Look at him.
Yeah. Charlie's a stud. But he settled with Leanne, who's like the sweetest.
Don't say settled. That sounds bad. She's flipping beautiful.
No,
she still is.
No, I mean settled down with.
Okay. There's no settling with that.
No, I was just about to say she's one of the greatest women ever if you would have let me do it. And it turned out the way it was supposed to for him.
Yes. And beautiful children.
Beautiful children, beautiful life. Those
still
two,
in love, still married.
Yeah. Oh God.
And still stand each other.
Yeah. Yeah. I just talked to him a couple of weeks ago, man. I mean, he's doing amazing. So,
Tell him I said hi.
I will. Leanne, definitely was the challenge Charlie needed. She didn't take much shit from him. So
he doesn't strike me ever, though. I mean, for those of you who don't know Charlie, he used to be the midday guy at Rock 105 in Jacksonville, Florida, and certainly many other places. But this is how I knew him. And he's kind of just a radio god, and he's the most down to earth. He was like this little short, scruffy, tanned beach dude, surfer dude.
A lot of Indian blood in him.
And he's so flipping cute. He's just cute. And then on top of it, he has this voice. And then on top of that, he has this brain. And like he could be political and just a break, just normal talk break. He could like be political. He could be hilarious. He could talk about anything and make it interesting in like a minute and a half and then be moving on. I just always thought he was just the best person, radio person.
Yeah, Charlie's definitely one of my mentors in this business. I probably have about 3 or 4 of them. He's definitely one of them. He basically helped me negotiate the politics of radio at my part of the career I was in, because he had just come from it. He said to me one day, he goes, "You're basically me now." He goes, the part of the radio I just left, you're now going into. Just do what I tell you. And I went, I'm not really good at that, Charlie. He goes, good answer.
he sat outside with me and smoked one day. We were smokers, and he just sat there and he just started talking about his first break in Chicago, like his true first turn the mic on and speak on Chicago radio. And it was coming after Jonathan Brandmeier. He was the morning, and
he's a
honestly,
legend.
You probably should someday see if you could get Charlie on Skype or something and just record him telling the story, because they fucked him over. It was like, hey, let's screw the new guy.
Yep.
And it was he told me this story, and it actually kind of created a little phobia. It's something that I've always thought about now. And Charlie took it in stride, and but he also then voiced his insecurities and everything as a result of that break that they did, that horrible thing they did to him. And I always
what they do to him? I've never heard the story.
Okay, again, it's his first time. He's turned the mic on. He is speaking in Chicago. This is it. He's made it. This is it. And it's coming right after Jonathan Brandmeier, and he starts speaking, and nothing. They didn't turn the delay off. And so he starts speaking, and there's nothing in his headphones, and so he keeps going because he's a professional. 7 seconds later, he's in his headphones. And if you're not expecting that, and you're not used to it, like a producer is or something,
right,
that messes with you big time.
Yeah, well, you're just supposed to take your headphones off.
Well, he didn't. Yeah. It was bad. Basically, his first break, I'm sure it probably wasn't, because it's Charlie, but in his mind, it was the worst thing that ever happened to him. It was awful, I guess. And they did it on purpose.
Wow.
Fuck with him. Isn't that awful?
Wow.
There you are thinking, I've made it. This is it. I'm in Chicago. And then you have the worst break.
Yeah. I mean, Charlie is the temper where that could have gone badly. Could have gone real badly.
See, that's funny you say that, because he was always, I never saw that side of him.
Yeah. I actually saw him, I saw him spit on somebody once.
Really?
Yeah.
A radio person, or a normal person, a civilian?
Radio person who, when you worked in Jacksonville, you could get stuck at the bridge at the beach. If the bridge was up on Saturday, right, you could get stuck there for 20 minutes or so. So Charlie got stuck, and there were no cell phones back then. So he didn't get into the studio till quarter after. And the guy on before him said, it'd be great if you'd show up on time. I got to be here. And then he's like, hey, man, I'm sorry. I got caught at the bridge. And he's like, the guy was kind of like, I don't fucking care, man. It's like, get here earlier and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, you New York fucking asshole. And all of a sudden I hear this. He goes, that's a New York fucking asshole. And I was just
now.
And I just went, whoa.
One time when I was on the show with you guys, the hotline rang. It was right before the end of the show. And I answered it, and it was Charlie. And he said, hey, could you do me a favor? Could you cover me for half an hour? I was like, sure, okay. And he's like, the wife has a headache. I'm taking care of it. I'm like, well, thank you for telling me that you're going to eat out your wife right now, and that's why you're late for work.
Oh, God. Charlie. I love him.
See, that's why radio rocks, and that's why, HR departments.
Yeah, he was always good to me, man. We
you too.
And it's like he kind of had seniority on me the first time I worked with him, and then of course I hired him back later, and he's the same whether you work for him or he works for you. He's the same. He just knows how to do an in-house relationship. Based on where it's been before. He wasn't fucking weird about it, because there were two people I'd worked with before that, had seniority on me, and then all of a sudden were working for me,
Right.
who were fucking weird about it. And I was always like, why are you being so fucking weird about this? It's I'm just the guy on the hook for our performance now. It's nothing's changed. It's not. If you don't think I don't know you are hiding alcohol over the control room and you're fucking high all the time, you're crazy. I'm not an idiot. So relax.
That was one time. It was I was working a weekend shift Saturday, and Jamie Brooks came in to me like on Monday and said he comes up and he's very like kind of whispering, like really close to me. Obviously doesn't want people to know, and he says, "I found your bong in the ashtray out front this weekend. Please don't do that." And I'm like, okay. I'm not even thinking, because I don't smoke pot. That
Right.
wasn't even remotely my bong, or it wasn't a bong. It was a pipe.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, okay.
I was
And he's
about
like,
to say, you don't get high, do you?
No. And so I'm just like, okay. And he said, I put it in remember we had the drawers
Mm-hmm.
where we kept our headphones and stuff. He said, I put it in your drawer. And I'm like, okay. And so later I'm sitting there talking to Charlie, and I mentioned it. I was like, yeah, Jamie came up and, and Charlie gets this look and he goes, "That's mine. Can I have it back?" And I'm like, it's in my drawer. I don't know why he thought it was me, though.
Oh, God. Jamie. God rest his soul.
I know, that makes me so sad still.
Jamie, inspired me to go into radio. He's who I was listening to when I moved to Jacksonville, and I thought he was great on the air. And
I did, too. I always wondered what because, I didn't know. And I always just wondered, what his story was. Because he was a part-timer, but he was, way too good than a normal part-timer. You know what I mean? There's a reason most people are part-time.
Yeah, he on an executive level, because he was a program director several times, not a super great people person, and not a slave to paperwork and things you got to do as a manager to,
right?
Simple things you got to do as a program director that are not fun things. Filling out, all kinds of different employee paperwork, insurance paperwork, time clock, shit, stuff like that. And he
right.
Apparently didn't really care to deal with that stuff, when he was a program director. He just wanted to give orders and say he was the program director for the most part. Also was playing a lot of records. A lot of new records. And that usually gets a set of eyeballs on you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
The sad part is, I don't think he was getting anything for doing that. I just think he thought that all that should be played. But other people thought, God, you must have a beach house somewhere or something.
Now, when you maybe play a record so that the record guy will get someone that you're hoping to have sex with plane tickets to visit you, does that count?
No. I mean, I'm talking about much bigger picture than that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing a lot of records from certain labels, people are going to look at you back in those days are going to look at you like you were up to something.
Right.
You're getting compensated somehow, or somebody else was. So you're getting something out of the deal. My thing is, I don't think Jamie was. I just think he liked playing a lot of records. I
will admit that was something that always really interested me when I was paying attention back in the 90s, was the wheeling and dealing. If you play, okay, we'll give you this Pearl Jam, but you also have to play this song from some band no one's ever heard of, but then we'll give you the Pearl Jam tickets.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting because there was like all this like wheeling and dealing, because then you might say, no, let's do this, and so there's just like high stakes
it's just
stuff going on, but it was like for tickets and things. It was really interesting.
It was just something I was always good at, because I could play a record, and say, yeah, I'll play it at night. It'll get 2 plays a day, and that record might play at 10:45 at night and 3:35 in the morning, but that's it.
Right.
It's not going to hurt you. It's not even a rated time period. So it's really not a big deal to play stuff like that, especially if they're going to give you a trip to give away on the air or guitars and, and things like that. Where guys used to get lost is, record guys would figure out that they could get those records played and not have to give them much to do it.
Right.
So they'd end up getting a bunch of those records played, for giving away, a guitar and giving away minuscule things, and I always, went on the premise of, that if it doesn't bring the listeners any value, I don't want any part of it.
Right.
So the record either had to be good, or if I'm playing a piece of shit at night to give something away,
give you something.
It's going to give the listener something to go for, or give the radio station some sort of collateral. Because
that was just something I didn't realize, like how much of that, it's really like a science. It's you think of Wall Street traders and stuff doing their wheeling and dealing. There's this same level of wheeling and dealing going on in radio, like with with records that are getting played on the air. Trust me, anything you hear that's new, there's a reason why it's there. And it's not just because it's a great song that everybody has to hear. Someone got something for it, but not like in a payola kind of way.
Well, on that level, then what happens is, let's say, for sake of people know, if a new Foo Fighters is coming out, okay, you got you and maybe another station or two in the market that want it first,
Right.
And that, then that comes from doing something for them before, like, those 3 shitty records you played at night. The conversation may have been, I'll play this, but that Foo Fighters record is in my fucking hands first.
Exactly. There's just so much to it. There's like a lot of wheeling and dealing going on.
And they go,
I'll play these 3 shitty songs, but you give me this Foo Fighters first and fuck the other 2 stations.
Yeah, and they go, I can't do that. You all have to get it at the same time. It's like, it's too bad. Then we'll all get it at the same time, won't we? I said, or
and I'm not playing your 3 shitty songs.
I said, or will we? I said, because if I find out they got it before me,
But admit it, that was exciting, wasn't it? That was kind of fun. It's
like I said, it would. I was built to do that job for that kind of stuff. Right. It was fun. Plus I like those guys. Those guys have hard jobs, and I have established friendships to this day with a lot of those record reps. Some have since retired or doing something else, but it never got to the point of shitty with any of them. They understood I had what I had to do what I had to do, and so do I. So when they would come to me and go, I need this. Those favors we talk about that are non-negotiable, that if I come with my hat in my hand, I need this. It's like, yeah, well, this is one of those. And I'd always go, okay, well, you owe me a hat. And I'd play the record, and 6 months down the road, I'd have something line up where, let's just say somebody like AC/DC's coming to town, new records coming out at the same time. I'd go to them for the trip and go, I need a trip, to go see them in Australia when the tour starts, and I need to give a pair of tickets to the same people to see them here. I need airfare, I need hotel, I need all that stuff. And I'm basically going to make my whole spring promotion around it. So I need this. I need it just like you needed that. Remember that? Because I'd write all that stuff down.
Of course you did.
And, and they would never go, I never said that or did that. They always go, understood.
Let's see what we can do.
Just good working relationships. It's like I understood what their job was. They understood mine. And there were those times where we'd laugh and they'd come in and go, God, Lex, this record's such a piece of shit, but I need you to play it. He goes, it's that one where they know somebody at the top of the label and they're up our ass to get it played, and we all know it's a piece of shit, but I need you to do it.
See, when I worked at Z93 in Saginaw, when those records would finally come off where you didn't have to play them anymore, mm-hmm. Paul, the music director, it was like a thing that he did. He would step outside and throw those discs like a frisbee up on the roof of that building.
Right.
That roof was covered in old shitty songs that were never going to be heard on the radio.
Exactly. Exactly.
It was like boom, and it was fun to watch him do it.
And it was like I said, it was cool to have those relationships. Because I didn't realize how special they were at the time. But these guys, most of them, the ones that haven't passed away, are friends for life.
Doug
and Doug is Doug I actually met later in my career.
Really?
I mean, most of the guys I'm talking about were like 80s and before I met Doug. I didn't meet Doug till like 89, 88, 89, somewhere around there. So when I came back to radio, I replaced one of my independent guys with Doug. And he was one of the few.
Another good Detroit boy.
Yeah, and then there's another Detroit guy. I forget his name. I think his name was Howard.
Oh.
Lesnick?
I know him.
Lesnick?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Resnick or Lesnick.
Resnick, or something like that.
Howard. I knew him too.
I got to be friends with him, and so there was like this real weird. I never really understood the independent dynamic, because those guys are working for all the labels. So most of the program directors have like one guy they work with, and that was like their bitch, where the label will come and go, yeah, I know he's your bitch, get him to play this, and I had like 4 or 5 of those guys, I didn't understand the dynamic of it, because it's like, yeah, listen, I have a relationship with him and him and him. Sorry, man, you're just gonna. It's like,
wow, Howard.
And they're like, you don't know how this works, do you? I said, yeah. And I said, I know what works for me. I don't know about you. But cool. But if you can't deal, I understand. And of course, they're not going to throw a station away that could possibly every once in a while give them something they can do. So, I got stuff out of them too.
There's a blast from the past. I haven't thought about him in years. Holy shit. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and there were some big deal guys, that did that, like Bill McGathy and guys like that, that were just like giant, huge independent guys, and it was almost like mafia almost, It's like, you're my guy, right? And I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Is radio still even like that? Does that even happen? Like the dealing with the record people, or does you're told what to play and that's it?
I don't know. I just know what it would be if I ended up doing it again, and it would just be, get out of my face.
Because, I mean, that really, as I said, it wasn't something I realized had happened, and I loved it. I loved sitting there and watching Rick, my PD at the time, do his wheeling and dealing and stuff. And, you know, that's how I got to know Doug and Howard. Like, oh, my God. You know, and these guys would come and to the station once in a while and hang out. And, you know, there's all this shit going on. And then it was like Monday, I think Music Monday. I don't remember what day was music day.
Monday and Tuesday are the day. You know, Monday is promotion day. Tuesday ad day. Yeah, and I remember my phones on Monday afternoon be like, I gotta talk to him. You know. And it's like...
And this is stuff that people don't realize happened, like, in radio. I mean, this was, like, all behind-the-scenes stuff all the time.
And every Monday, I'd have to take 5 phone calls. I need this today. This has to happen, man. You know, can you do it? Can you please? And that's when the negotiations would start.
And that's how songs got played on the radio.
Yeah.
It was fun and interesting.
Yeah, because you already knew you had a certain amount of slots open, and you pretty much had an idea of what you were going to put on there. But there's always that one that could be pulled out of the mix and another one put in its place.
Right.
And that's when it got fun. But, yeah, I mean, it's... You know, these guys had a hard job. They really did. It was a fun job, but a hard one. A very pressure-packed job. I mean, because I didn't realize how their bosses spoke to them until I went to Los Angeles and was doing that for Album Network to a degree. Basically taking some of my relationships with radio people that I had and helping records get played. You know,
right.
So I got to have a taste of that job for a little bit. And, you know, to have a national person call you up and call you every name in the fucking book and tell you how much money they spend on advertising for the magazine and all that, and just talk to you like you're just a fucking slug on a tree stem. You know, you realize right then and there the pressure those guys are under.
Right.
And, you know, I really felt bad for them, you know, after that. I mean, when I went back and was a program director, I had a whole different perspective on those guys than I had before I went. I had no idea they had somebody talking to them like that once a week. You know, very degrading.
Right.
I mean, they would, you know, and I'm talking about some female reps would have to hear this stuff too. You know, stuff you can never fucking say to them. You really shouldn't have said it to them back then. You know? You
fucking cunt.
Oh, God. You know? On a regular fucking basis. You know? Horrible. You know, and you just had to have an empathy for it and kind of eat it. You know, when a national person would call, it was kind of funny because when everybody knew I was going back to radio about 6 weeks before I went, except for the record people. You know, but everybody in my office knew, and you know, so there were like 4 or 5 Tuesdays where somebody would call me up and go, you know, what the fuck you been doing today? You know, it's like, you know, you're supposed to be working for me. We're spending a bunch of money in advertising. And I'd be like, yeah, I don't give a fuck.
It felt good.
Yeah, it did. You know, and it's like, you really shouldn't talk to me like this. I'm out here trying for you every single fucking week as hard as I can. So is everybody else. So what's with the fucking name calling and the beating your fucking chest and all that? What the hell, man? And we're like, let me talk to Tommy. No prob. Hold on.
Tommy.
Tommy, we go, Lex, Jesus Christ, man. You know, it's He goes, try to keep it together before you go back to Jacksonville, okay, buddy? It's like, sure thing, Tommy.
Here, he kissed me once.
Huh? Yeah, he's a good man. He knows a good woman when he sees one.
was like, oh, hi.
He's so awesome. He's like the guy you get to play a guy just like him in a movie about a guy like him. So yeah, Stacey, it was fun to go down this rabbit hole. It was cool, but we got to wrap it up, man. Great podcast today, and good to be back with you, my dear.
Yes, I've missed you, Lexi Poo.
Yeah.
Truly honest.
And I know we say this all the time, but we really need to stick with it. I'll see you, next week around this time, and we will do this again.
That's me knocking on wood.
Yeah.
And hopefully there won't be no storms going through and wind.
Yeah, it didn't seem to last too long, so that's good.
Yes.
So that's a beautiful thing. But anyway, we are wrapping it up. Number 143 of the Threesome Podcast, and we will be hitting you with much more plentiful content from here on out, won't we, Stace?
Yes, we will, because winter's coming.
Yeah. And
not the Game of Thrones kind of way, but just really winter.
Yeah, just winter where we stay indoors, and if we're going to stay indoors, we might as well talk. So that's basically it. Other than that, you guys have a great day. We'll see you next time on the Threesome Podcast.